Hi guys, I've got a good book to talk to you guys about today. It is called Never Have I Ever by Joshilyn Jackson. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining. My name is Beth, this is Remark, and today I'm going to talk with you about a good book that I just finished called Never Have I Ever by Joshilyn Jackson. Here's a basic rundown of the book. It is a domestic thriller. It follows our main character named Amy, who is living a life of domestic bliss. She's in her early 40s, has a brand new baby at home, married, she has a teenage stepdaughter, until one night this mysterious, beautiful new neighbor named Rue stirs the pot. She crashes the book club group that the ladies have, gets everyone drunk, and initiates a game of Never Have I Ever. You know the game. This is the one where you say a series of horrible, increasingly, embarrassing things, and then you say, never have I ever gotten drunk, or something like that. And then if you've done it, you take a drink. When you're dealing with adults, people who have had a lot more time to live, a lot more time to rack up skeletons in their closet, embarrassing things they'd rather forget, or in Amy's case, a horrible, horrible, horrible event from her past that she's trying to escape, this game of Never Have I Ever becomes a lot more serious and the stakes are a lot more higher. Rue turns it into this game of let's confess our deepest, darkest secrets, and the women who are all feeling kind of tipsy at this point, verging on the point of drunk, kind of gleefully spill, almost like it's an act of confession with one another in which they are showing themselves to be more exciting than they actually are. They can act like this layer of domestic bliss that they've been wearing has been sloughed off, and inside they are full of vim and vigor and mystery themselves. It's almost a vicarious sort of be a badass for a night kind of thing. And then after the confession is done, they're able to put back on those comforting layers of domestic bliss. I'm speaking figuratively here, of course. Go back home and resume their lives safely with no real danger of having been caught out. What's a little wine and secrets amongst friends, right? Bad. It's bad. Bad, bad, bad. As we find out in this book. Because Rue, this mysterious, beautiful new neighbor who these women are trying to impress, turns out to have nefarious reasons for being there. Amy sees through it really quickly. Whenever the ladies start playing this Never Have I Ever one-upmanship game of how horrible they've been, Amy wants out immediately. She is like, get out. Get out. For Amy has a bigger than usual secret in her past. We learned that when she was a teenager, she had this completely different life. Amy has been spending many years since then trying to outrun the shadow of her past. She sloughed off the weight, she sloughed off the history, any sort of recognizability that would follow her. She's trying to be a new person. So when Rue walks in with this new game and these people start spilling their secrets, the stakes are really high for Amy. Things could go very wrong, and it could mess up this entire life that she's managed to craft for herself against all odds. So we find out pretty quickly that Rue does know what Amy's mysterious past is, and she's there specifically to blackmail Amy. Of course she has nefarious reasons for being there, and of course everyone who crosses her path rues the day that they meet her. So what's a girl to do when she's being blackmailed? What do you do? I mean, she has built this life painstakingly for the past 25 years, and there's just so much that she could lose. She could lose her baby. It's not a matter of walking away and rebuilding all over again. There's too much that she would be walking away from. So Amy and Rue engage in this elaborate game of chess in which they are trying to outmaneuver, outwit, outclever one another and figure out who can make it to the end. Will it be the blackmailer or will it be the redeemed mom? Now in books like these, part of the fun almost is that the characters often have these horrible situations put in front of them and then they proceed to take a series of even horribler steps. Instead of fixing the situation, they dig themselves 10 times deeper. The situation gets so much worse and you spend so much of the book practically yelling at these people in your mind, saying, why would you do that? You could have had an out. You could have fixed this, and you just made it worse. Why would you turn completely evil in trying to save yourself? Or why would you make all these wrong steps? The book in particular I'm thinking about is The Water, Deep Water, Open Water. Okay, I gotta look it up. Something in the Water. Something in the Water by Catherine Steadman. That is the book I'm thinking about. That is a wonderfully horrible book in which a couple finds like this case, a mysterious case out in the water, opens it up and it's full of rich stuff, and they know that it's ill-gotten gains, and they each take these horrible decisions. It's like a bag full of horribleness for both of these people because they just go on this downward spiral so fast and make every wrong turn. And so that's what I'm thinking about in these examples of books where when someone is pushed up against the wall or come up against an adversary or a roadblock or something like that, they, instead of doing the right thing and taking the peaceful path forward, it amps up so much delicious drama in the book for them to make all the wrong decisions and for it to turn into this almost absurdly bad, just a horrible path of horribleness and new drinking game instead of never have I ever. Instead, let's play drink every time Beth says horrible. So that's what often happens in books like these, is they will purposefully make the characters take the wrong turns because it amps up the drama, it amps up the character development, it amps up the thrilliness of it all. And it's pretty fun, but it's a situation in which you have to really suspend disbelief. Joshilyn Jackson in Never Have I Ever takes kind of a different path where you see the things playing in Amy's head. You see these different turns she could take, these different scenarios, and you're wondering, will she take those or will she try and do the right thing? And you can see very easily her path could diverge onto very different roads, and the roads aren't really two very different roads. It's more like, it's not that there's a right road and a wrong road or a good road and an evil road. Really, Joshilyn Jackson takes a much more realistic approach in that the road forward is often murky and gray. Not completely good, not completely bad. Amy, of course, is no saint. She's had this past that she's been trying to live down. Nor is she a sinner. I mean, just because she has this horrible past doesn't mean that she's irredeemable. And so it's kind of a lot more realistic in that you see the angel and the devil sitting on her shoulders practically, and you get to see her really think through the different scenarios and how to move forward. I'm not going to tell you how she moves forward. I'm not going to tell you what happens because there are some twists and turns in this book that are so good, and I want you to discover them for yourself. So clever, so clever. I really enjoy it. One thing that the author does very well in this book is the symbolism of the water. Amy has found her passion in diving, deep sea diving. Now, water is often used as a symbol of redemption, of baptism, of renewal, and she does that very well in this book. There are several scenes in which Amy goes into the water and comes out a new person, whether it's finding her courage, whether it's finding her passion for life again, whether it's just finding peace or finding connection. The water baptizes Amy and lets her come up a new and better person. Very clever how she does that. And speaking of baptism, I'm going to segue into a partly theological discussion because this book really made me think a lot about redemption. And just the different paths that our lives can take, and how sometimes, even though the paths go the wrong way, there's always a chance to come back. So the thing with Amy is that she has this horrible past. You would think that after her past, after what had happened, and I'm being purposefully obtuse here, I don't want to be too specific, but after this past event that she's trying to get past, you would think that would all be over. In fact, in her parents' eyes, it is pretty much all over. Any signs of affection or hopefulness they had for her future pretty much disappear. They just want to get through the rest of their days with her and are pretty relieved when she leaves the state after graduating high school. You would think that after this horrible event, her life would just be, it would just be done. But that's not the case. It takes her a very long time to come back. Very long time to find some sort of peace and semblance of her own life, her own family, but she does it. And that just really struck a chord with me. And then same thing with these different characters and the different things they go through, and these secrets that Rue carries with her and tries to ruin all sorts of people around her with them. Secrets that people would think they could not get past. Secrets that people hold so dear to them and so tight because the thought of them coming out is just unconscionable. And Rue uses that to her full advantage. It's a big weak spot in most people. I mean, who doesn't have something they'd rather not talk about, right? But there's redemption there, and I think that the author doesn't really talk about that outright, but I felt it. I felt it in the book. Come what may, horrible things happen. Sometimes we do horrible things. It sucks. It sucks. What matters is what you do next. Whenever I go to church with my religious family, there's this one line in communion that always speaks to me. No matter who you are, where you've been, what you've done, God loves you. Now, I personally have a deeply complicated relationship with religion, so I'm not saying that you have to think about this in terms of God, but just the sentiment of that has always really touched me and spoken to me, because it's a mantra that you can carry with you and that you can spread forth amongst your fellow humans. I raise teenagers, which, if you have ever even been a teenager, you know is a pretty big time in someone's life. A lot of things happening. So the words I keep saying to my own boys are, tomorrow's a new opportunity to make things better. Maybe it won't be completely better, maybe things will be kind of messy, but tomorrow is always a new opportunity. You can always try to make things right. That's just something that the book really invoked in me as I went through it, was just this message of redemption. I'm sure the author did not intend for me to be thinking about my childhood days in communion and be thinking about forgiveness and stuff like that, but nevertheless, that is what came up in my brain. The fact that, on a secular level, no matter who you are, where you've been, or what you've done, you are capable and worthy of love. You are capable and worthy of finding the right path forward. Of course, things are going to be murky. Of course, things are going to be gray, and there's going to be all sorts of wrong turns and tributaries, and it's never a clear path forward. I mean, maybe sometimes it is, but oftentimes it is not. But you can do it. Wow, I got preachy there. Didn't mean to do that. Bottom line, good book. Let me know what you think of it if you've read it, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that good booktube stuff. See you next week. Bye.